In August 1997, Tom Peters wrote a piece for Fast Company titled A Brand Called You. Over 20 years ago, Peters was announcing that marketing strategies, once only available to big-name corporations, were now at the command of the individual. And it's an attractive notion. If our identity is a brand, it can be managed and manipulated and controlled in the same way ad agencies keep people smoking cigarettes.
But everybody else's tobacco's toasted.
No, everybody else's tobacco is poisonous.
We no longer manage a reputation, which of course changes at the mercy of the company we keep, but a brand, which we can manicure to our own liking. As a masterclass in personal branding, consider the highest paid celebrity in the world, Taylor Swift. And what is Taylor Swift's personal brand? Well, it's been a lot of things. In 2017, during her video for Look What You Made Me Do, we see her past brands clambering on top of each other to get to the newest version. There's the young country music starlet from 2008, the teen romantic from 2009, the music video ballerina from 2014. Her newest brand, a stereotypical bad girl complete with leather and snakes, stands atop the pile and rejects all of them. Now, 3 years later, the snake from the previous album bursts into butterflies in the opening shot of Me, one of her newest singles, which obviously has her singing yet again about who or what she is. In other words, she is now rejecting the persona that rejected all her previous personas. We're back to butterflies. The conflict of her new Netflix documentary centers on her shifting image in public opinion. Her brand, at this point, is so fluid that it defies classification. Her brand is rebranding. Taking the wheel and determining her image and identity is precisely what her image is. Where personal branding promised image control, Taylor Swift has realized its hidden potential. You no longer have to exist as one single thing. You contain multitudes. The human race has always been interested in role-playing. Ritualistic practice going back 7,000 years includes masks, face paint, and pretend, and it isn't restricted to one part of the globe. The Iroquois used costume healers. The Greek cults that performed in worship of Dionysus inadvertently formalized stage acting. Medieval Christian carnivals involved elaborate costumes and eventually produced the masquerade balls we know today. But if Taylor Swift is any indication, in the digital age, one mask isn't good enough anymore. We want what she has, an infinite number of alternate personas. It's no wonder then that the highest grossing media franchise of all time is a video game franchise, or that the most profitable piece of entertainment ever made is a video game. More than any other medium, games and game avatars deliver on that core human desire to be 1,000 different things at once. And as an artifact of culture, like personal branding, they paint a picture of a people obsessed with managing multiple identities. Ever since his debut in 1981's Donkey Kong, Mario has been jumping. In fact, his original character name was Jumpman. He's very, very good at it. Living with my lame 1-foot vertical, it's satisfying to become a plumber who can jump 5 times his own height. Mario levels are designed with this satisfaction in mind, arranging platforms and enemies in such a way that the very thing that makes Mario better than you, his jump, is underscored. The countless positive reviews of Mario games never fail to mention the joys of Mario's acrobatic skills.
As in every Mario game, control is spectacular, it's very tight, it's very responsive, and simply running around the levels is so much fun because you can long jump and you can string together triple jumps.
All this to say, while there are a lot of great things about Mario games, it's being Mario that remains the core attraction. And that's not unique to Mario. Consider the box art of most contemporary games, which market the avatar front and center, betraying the primary seduction of the experience. Be this. In his essay Playing at Being, Psychoanalysis in the Avatar, Bob Rehak says it well. The crucial relationship in many games is not between avatar and environment, or even between protagonist and antagonist, but between the human player and the image of him or herself encountered on screen. Avatars can accomplish more than the player alone. They are supernatural ambassadors of agency. It's freedom we're after. Mario and other game avatars are not just vehicles players inhabit to see the attractions, They are the attractions themselves, doors opening onto other modes of being. Rehak goes on to clarify that the avatar is not simply a means of access to desired outcomes, but an end in itself, a desired object. As a case in point, consider, for example, how many game designers take this disembodiment process of human player into digital avatar and represent it in the game with gameplay mechanics, usually termed a possession mechanic. The newest Mario game, Mario Odyssey, designates itself from other Mario games with Mario's ability to possess enemies with his cap. In the case of Odyssey, the player-possessed avatar is himself an agent of possession. Possessing a frog helps Mario jump even higher than the typical Mario jump. Possessing a T-Rex lets you smash through walls. And what's so interesting about this is that hordes of other games include avatars possessing avatars. Majora's Mask, Super Hot, Dishonored, Nier Automata, Banjo-Kazooie, the list goes on. The designers, keenly aware that players are coming to this game for re-embodiment, simulate that transfer over and over in the course of the game. The puzzle game Baba Is You is an interesting case study in how far designers have indulged our desire to inhabit and control. The game's title announces the relationship between player and on-screen avatar in the same way that game box art often foregrounds who you'll be over what you'll do. But here, the title is hinting that this relationship between player and avatar isn't just an aspect of the game, it is the game. Baba Is You is literally a game where you push the block-like rules of each level around to make new phrases. Since the word you is always a part of this rule set, rearranging phrases with you immediately changes who or what you possess. Walls, lava flows, boxes, robot drones, and even blocks of the text itself snap to your controller as an extension of your will. But the challenge of Baba Is You is very different than something like Mario Odyssey. Odyssey intends its possessions to be empowering and enthralling, to give the player the sense of ever-growing capability through new bodies. Compare this to 2017's Everything, in which an extremely simplified simulation of the universe's ecosystems is at your thumb tips. These games foreground just how many things you can be, and how capable that makes you feel. In Baba Is You, the constant avatar swapping is the difficulty. Each level is spent wrestling with this expansive power to become so many different things, taxing your brain for how this power has yet again outstripped your ability to think through its 100 implications. In carrying out our body-swapping desire to its logical ends, a game like Baba turns our frenetic impulse on its head. What was once purely fun becomes exhausting. This cocktail of delight and fatigue is what sociologist Kenneth Gergen called multiphrenia in his book, The Saturated Self. Commenting on digital technology, globalization, and always-on entertainment, Gergen writes, "We find a profound sea change taking place in the character of social life. The relatively coherent and unified sense of self inherent in a traditional culture gives way to manifold and competing potentials. A multi-phrenic condition emerges in which one swims in ever-shifting currents of being." But what exactly is so irresistible about what Gergen calls these currents of being? What do we get out of our avatars? Well, consider the nose slider. If you're playing a game where you can determine the look of your avatar, there's probably a nose slider. In fact, there are probably 2 or 3 nose sliders. And if you're like me, you've tried a few times to make a character look like you. So you consider, maybe for the first time in your life, the width of your nostrils. Maybe you get it just right, maybe not. In any case, there's something fun about attempting to see your face on screen, like those amusement park cutouts where you can put your face onto another body, or an app filter that switches your face with your friends. But recent research suggests that, given the tools to create an avatar, for most people, self-representation isn't the main attraction. A study at Stephen F. Austin State University compared 2 types of avatar relationships in Skyrim, a game in which you can design your avatar, nose and all. The first was an ideal self-projection, where the avatar serves as a self-extension that mirrors a player's most desired attributes. The second use was an alternate self-avatar that was constructed to explore different identities in the safety of the digital space. The study found that the second use, that alternate self, was a more popular motivation when designing a new avatar. Players weren't moving those nose sliders to see themselves in the avatar, they wanted to create new selves. So sure, embodying Mario gives me the ideal jump I wish I had, but ultimately I'm driven to be Mario because he's different enough from who I am and represents a new exciting identity. Taylor Swift's success doesn't come from any one brand, but from her display of the multi-phrenic condition which we are already so familiar with. To be honest, I never finished Baba Is You. Granted, its puzzles get very hard near the end, but I'm sure I ultimately left the game because there were just too many other things to be.